And I think podcast, being able to speak publicly, this is so important right now. And the way Sunbeam is really embracing it, I think it's really nice.
As a person who has been raised in Banaras, in what manner has the city devoted you to your art?
Banaras, if you ask me, I think it's very inspirational. You know, we were not born in a Delhi or a Bombay.
In your art, what does Banaras exactly look like?
I mean, we want to include traditional Indian motifs in modern day style. Banaras was ready for really newer things now. This is something that we've really turned from a setback to an opportunity. Naksha is really liberation for me and evolution of me in all these years. It's not wise to have 20 friends, but maybe have like 5 and stick with them. People here are more than just conventional thoughts. I think we're just getting started.
Welcome to our channel, Vox Populi, Voices of the People. You're watching Banaras with a Twist, and this is episode 3. They say Banaras is timeless, but sometimes it's the youth of the city who dare to rewrite its traditions with a contemporary pen. Our guest today is one such voice, born of tradition, raised through creativity, and driven by intuition. She walked away from chemistry labs and corporate cabins to embrace silver, quite literally, giving rise to her soulful and skillful venture Naksha, a brand that speaks of heritage through design, purity through metal, and identity through expression. She has danced through marketing roles, dabbled in journaling and painting. Let's welcome Ms. Nandini Agrawal, founder of Naksha and an artist who followed her creative gush all the way home. Since you have seen our campus as of now, what is the most impressive thing you found as of now?
I think I'm really impressed in the room that I'm in right now. This is great exposure, and I'm not that old, but still I feel like there's just so many changes right now that are happening in schools, and it's needed. I mean, we've seen how things need to be up in extracurriculars, and I think podcast, being able to speak publicly, this is so important right now, and the way Sunbeam is really embracing it, I think it's really nice and needed.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, one thing that we have seen as students is that every single part of our lives constitutes to our own demeanor. And as a person who has been raised in Banaras, in what manner has the city devoted you to your art?
I think I'll start with Banaras, but then I'm going to boil it down to the family also that I was raised in. We have been jewelers, so creativity has been something that's really been in our blood. But Banaras, if you ask me, I think it's very inspirational because we were not born in a Delhi or a Bombay.
Yes.
So lives were relatively slower, and it was, I think, the slowness of the city that also inspired you to be creative. I think ever since I was a child, I used to live in the gullies of Banaras, and there used to be small, sitar classes, dance classes, art classes, and I remember I used to take those in summer vacations. I didn't know that I was really creative or anything, but I think those things really helped me, and I still cherish those as great childhood memories. So thanks to my family also, who just took those steps to actually do those things. So I think Banaras in that way has been really inspirational. Plus now what I'm getting to see is that Banaras has been really accepting of what
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
doing. And honestly, we've had the biggest customer base in Banaras. We've done the most sales in Banaras. That's also because people are very aspirational here. Again, you don't get a lot of options also, but then people are very accepting of new things, which is why it's a great space to be in right now. And then I think about growing up, I think my family has been a very major reason how I have turned out to be who I am today. I think the honesty, the ethics, the transparency, the creativity is what I really get from them.
Truly, ma'am, we all understand that, ma'am. So, ma'am, you mentioned how Banaras had a very profound impact in the way you looked at the world. So, ma'am, in your art, what does Banaras exactly look like?
See, I won't say that all our designs are inspired by Banaras, but if you see that there is a sense of traditional touch that we have in our jewelry. Even the one that I'm wearing right now, I mean, I'm a 24-year-old. I'm supposed to be influenced by the modern world, which I am. But then I'm very rooted in terms of say traditional crafts, in terms of traditional textiles, in terms of traditional jewelry making. So those things are very integral. I mean, we want to include traditional Indian motifs in modern day styling. Like I'm wearing a shirt, but I'm wearing a traditional choker set with it. So I think that's something that's really impacted Naxa as a brand through Banaras. But then close to like 2 months, we are going to launch like a collection that's really, really close to Banaras, and that is thoroughly going to be influenced by Banaras. So yeah, looking forward to that.
So, ma'am, as you mentioned that your family has been into the jewelry business for a long time now. So, ma'am, how challenging was it to abide by the expectations of traditions and also make something different and unique in your own manner?
That's a question. That's a heavy question. I think I'm only sitting and processing it right now. Honestly, I think my family has been very lenient in the sense of expectations. I mean, they never really like said that you have to do this, you have to do that, and which is actually the reason why I could explore so much, from chemistry to marketing to starting this. They were very supportive, and there were no like expectations weight
Yes.
on my shoulder, which is why I could have that creative freedom. So expectations, not so much, but they've stood by really good ethics in terms of honesty or the pricing or everything. So I have to stick by those ethos, and I naturally have them in me. But every now and then I get checks from them that, okay, what is this that you're doing? And maybe you should do it that way, this way. So I think it's just really nice to have a guiding light that way, because say there's anything that's broken, anything that we want to customize. So I'm like, okay, Papa, what can I do about this? Or, how can that be done? So there's that guiding light, but there's been no weight of expectations.
Yes.
So that's been great.
So, ma'am, we are truly grateful that your art is being appreciated. So, ma'am, one thing that we have noticed is that you have done a variety of things, from marketing to chemistry, which are things that people do not really expect to witness in a single person. So how has this variety helped you in crafting not just your art but also your demeanor?
So this is again like something to think about. But I think that I would not have it any other way really, because it gave me the best of all the worlds really. Because chemistry, PCM actually taught me the discipline to sit, to study. I remember I used to sit and study for 8-12 hours. So that actually, helped me understand hard work better. Then when I got to chemistry college, I got exposed to a lot of extracurriculars. So, that way I think those things have helped me become who I am. Then getting a job somewhere else obviously trains you better in terms of your work. Marketing was something that I explored because I was not sure if chemistry labs are places where I can be, because I like to speak. I liked, going out. I liked having a lot of people to talk to speak out. And chemistry was not exactly that. I mean, that's something that I was not sure if it was for me. But then college was really helpful in terms of extracurriculars. Exploring mode, I went to DU and North Campus. So a lot of good college exposure around. And post that obviously trained me. I worked at Dentsu and then I worked at Lenskart. Both places trained me to actually survive in the outside world, understand, like very technical things like how do you understand a creative campaign? How do you go about a brief? Or how do you think about sales, marketing, product? So I think those are things that have shaped me really well, and I don't think I would have it any other way.
Yes. So, ma'am, you have returned from Delhi and from a very hectic corporate setup back to Banaras. So, what exactly does this contrast mean to you, and what does coming back to Banaras mean to you as a person?
I felt like Delhi, Bombay, these places are very crowded. I used to live in Gurgaon, but there's a lot of crowd, and it's difficult to get noticed. I mean, of course, that's not the only reason I came back, but I felt like Banaras was ready for really newer things now. And maybe 10 years back, not sure, but I think now a lot of new things are emerging in Banaras. And again, for a while when I came back, it was a little difficult because, you're bound to go around places in Delhi and Gurgaon. But here, there are little limited set of places.
Yes.
But gradually, I think I got engrossed in work. Then there were so many things to look forward to, and I gradually, I think, started liking it here. I think I really like it here because it's a soft, sweet, small place, and you can create your own space here. And then people are also very accommodating now. I think over these 9-10 months of Naxa, I've become friends with really like nice people in Banaras that I've not got in touch with before. So I think that way it's really nice. Plus, it's always nice to come back to family, and yeah, I think it's sweet and nice.
Well, ma'am, that is absolutely beautiful. One thing that we noticed in the past and even in the present is that the gap of thoughts has escalated in our city, and people often form a prejudice around Banaras that it's a very traditional city. So, ma'am, how does your brand Naxa deal with that expectation from both the older generation and the youth of today?
This is something that we've really turned from a setback to an opportunity. Now also, if you see these years, people are very excited to come to Banaras. And due to the traditional value, Varanasi has gained a lot of traction. That's what we really also embarked on. It's not difficult for me to, tell people that we are from Banaras, we are from Varanasi, because people are really inviting of it, and not just in Banaras, but across the country. I think that's the recognition that Banaras is getting right now. We're just getting started really, because there are so many more things happening here, and I'm sure and hopefully we'll take it to bigger places and take Banaras's name further ahead.
Yes. Well, ma'am, you mentioned that you're dedicated towards breaking the stereotypes about the city. So what's that one particular stereotype that you have had to hear about our city that you would like to shatter through your work?
People really think it's just about ghats here.
Yes.
Because I remember when I was in college in my first year, I don't know what people expect out of Banaras, but then they're like, oh, are you from Banaras? Banaras में ऐसे कपड़े पहनते हैं, ये पहनते हैं. So people just don't really know how's the life here. They just feel like, okay, जो reel में दिखता है, that's the ghat, that's all Banaras is about. But I'm sure with a lot of more content that's going up online right now about Banaras, people are really getting to know better things about here.
Well, ma'am, just like you mentioned that a lot of Banaras has been narrowed down to the beauty of the ghats, and what lies beneath the city has been left unexplored. So, ma'am, finally, one question is that what's that one twist in Banaras that you wish other people knew but do not?
People here are more than just conventional thoughts. And I see a lot of really like new places. I think I'm going to name some. Like Aisha has started a fitness collective here. It offers Pilates. We have an immersive play and learn experience here by the name of Kala. So there are so many new things in Banaras that we want to break that stereotype that people think beyond conventional here also.
Yes.
And it's really like just as well executed as in a Delhi or a Bombay. It's not a place to really run away from now. In fact, it's a place to really build right now.
So, ma'am, according to you, what does Naxa stand for? Not just as a brand, but as a statement.
Naxa is really liberation for me and evolution of me in all these years. I'll tell you why. Because it's about choosing quantity over quality. When I emerged from school to college, I was a really junk jewelry junkie. So I used to hoard like a lot of pieces which were artificial. Eventually, I started to realize when I started making my own money, I was like, I need to put this money in the right place. And that's when I felt that artificial jewelry doesn't really suffice for it, because it doesn't have any returns, it doesn't have any values, and it's going to just fade away someday. So the idea of Naxa really emerged from this, that silver is something that's affordable as compared to gold. And silver is something that's very versatile. You get mostly things like in artificial, you get like much better things in silver. Yeah, it's costlier, but then it has values, it has returns. That's what Naxa is really about. It's about, choosing quality over quantity. In these school years, college years, I've realized also that, it's not wise to have 20 friends, but maybe have like 5 and stick with them. So that's the kind of quality over quantity that we want to inculcate in people. And it's about choosing mindfully what's right for you. But literally, Naxa really stands for Nandini, Akanksha, Sunita and Bela. That is my mother's my dadi and my nani's name. Those were the women that actually raised me with these values of building assets for me that are worthwhile.
Absolutely beautiful meaning behind that, ma'am. So, ma'am, when you are creating the art behind Naksha, what exactly comes in your mind? For who wears Naksha? Can you describe the kind of person you are imagining Naksha for?
So somebody who understands the value of craft, who understands the meaning of mindful purchasing, is who is our real target. And what I've also noticed is that it's not just younger generation who's buying Naksha right now. There are elderly women also who are really embracing Naksha, and that is something that's really heartwarming for me.
Well, ma'am, your contemporary school of thought has definitely shaped the way people will look at Banaras in the next coming months and years. In a city that wears heritage like an heirloom, Nandini chose to craft her own ornament, one that didn't just sparkle but spoke. Of bold choices, of quiet revolutions, of oxidized dreams and silver truths. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Vox Populi, Voices of the People. This is Banaras with a Twist. Signing off. Thank you and Jai Hind.